Hello and welcome back to OT, the podcast. We're here to talk about watches, time, and how to spend it. I'm Andy Green.
Hi, I'm Felix Schultz. Andy, we're spending it this week. We're spending the big bucks for good causes.
In the name of charity, muscular dystrophy. Muscular dystrophy. Is that what it is?
Duchenne muscular dystrophy.
That's a mouthful. We are, of course, talking about Only Watch 2024, the sale that was.
Is it 2023 or 2024?
That's part of the drama, isn't it?
Bit of both. We did talk about the core drama a little while ago, so maybe we'll link up that episode and save rehashing too much on that element of the drama. But yes, this episode we're going to talk about Only Watch and some of the standouts there. You've done a little bit of travel, and there's a little bit of other news to cover off on. So, Felix, why don't we start with your recent press junket? Yeah, as has become habit in my life recently, I don't know where this is going. I went up to see Seiko in Sydney. Thought of their 2024 collection overview. Can't talk about most of it yet, TBH. Like, it's all sort of embargoed until various points unknown.
Holding some stuff back.
Well, yeah. Well, there's been a few sort of new ones. That the one that I had written up, or I had ensured was published on Revolution earlier in the week. The SNXS, which is a watch that you'll be familiar with. It's sort of like a more like an Explorer. It's not like a dive watch. It's not a tool watch, like a full-on tool watch. It's just a good, solid, rugged watch. That was sort of one of the last of the old school Seikos around, if you know what I mean.
Is that the Seiko 5?
It is a Seiko 5.
There you go. So start with the Seiko 5, available on Qantas Marketplace.
Sorry.
If you do have some frequent flights. You probably do from all your travel and your short trips around.
But yeah, they've updated it. Real good, really nice watch. Just solid, just a good sort of, if you just want a watch that doesn't cost a heap of cash and you're not going to stress out about too much and it will look good at the same time. There was that. And I think for the rest of the stuff, without breaking embargoes, that was true for a lot of their upcoming releases.
Seiko's a cool brand. I mean, it's funny because I was talking to someone on the weekend about Seiko, and they were sort of not super into watches, but they were saying, how does Seiko make a watch and sell it at a profit for $300? I mean, the Seiko 5 is about 600 Aussie.
Yeah.
But that aside, they was kind of going, how do you do this at scale, globally and make a profit? And
I guess they own everything.
Economies of scale, and there is a lot of margin in watches.
Yep.
Evidently.
Speaking of other watch-related stuff, I was in Sydney, obviously. I popped in on the Reverso stories, which happened to be happening around the corner in Pitt Street while I was there. That was nice.
They love a story.
Yeah, they do. They had some heavy-hitting watches there in a little temporary structure on Pitt Street. Some, that one with the four faces, like super high-end complex Reversos. That was cool.
Gyro tourbillon or something?
Yeah. No, not Quadro, the Hybris Mechana, something. I'm sorry, JLC. I will clearly remember the model name later. The other thing, I dropped my Grand Seiko off got the battery changed, Andy.
When did you get that watch?
2021. I know this because I had to find the proof of purchase, which is a weird thing because I'm like, with an email from it was all very, I'm like,
was it a warranty swap for the battery?
Yeah, I didn't realise. It's under warranty still, so I don't have to pay for the battery.
What is the warranty on a battery?
I don't know. Like
what's
I would assume the battery's meant to last 3 years, but because the whole watch, I think, has like a 5-year warranty.
Right.
They just swapping out the battery for me.
And how long? Is it done on the spot or did you have to?
Well, because I didn't have the proof of purchase with me. I left it there and I don't know. I think they're going to check the gaskets as well. But I was just happy with that level of service.
Hey, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. There's another argument in favour of quartz.
Well, would you say the inconvenience of having to drop it off once every 3 or 4 years to swap the battery out is worth the...
100%. Especially for me because I've got like a gajillion other watches, and it's like the guy was like, "Oh, you'll have to leave it here." I'm like, "Yeah, that's fine. I don't care." Like,
oh no,
Did you frequently have to reset the time on that, or did you set it once and daylight savings?
See, this is the thing. So it's meant to be accurate within a second a month. Anecdotally, it's accurate within a second or two a year. They're very conservative with their estimation. I was a little bit peeved because I reset it and I pulled it out to like you normally reset. It's got that sort of jumping hour hand, so you cycle. So daylight savings, or the date goes forward. You just go click of the hour hand. But once I set it out, and I lost a few seconds. So
you'll never get those back.
Yeah, I'll never get those. I mean, that's the thing. You get a high accuracy quartz watch. You want to have that high accuracy precision. But I'd set other watches off it.
Here's a take for all the people thinking about their first serious watch purchase.
Yep.
Get $500-$600 together.
Yep.
Buy a Seiko.
Yep.
Never buy another watch again, and just be happy with your Seiko.
Funny you should mention this. My brother, his child, got a watch for a sort of a early milestone birthday. Got a Seiko. My brother was like, "Oh, he's got to get an automatic." I'm like, "No. Just get. You don't need an automatic. Just get a quartz."
Perfect.
Got a mid-sized diver. Great for a younger wrist.
Mm-hmm.
Why bother? Don't need to get any others.
Maybe he started something. Maybe this is the beginning of the...
I think that's what they hope. But honestly, the watch he bought, you could be happy with that for 20, 30 years of your life.
Do you think he goes to school and sort of mocks Uncle Felix and does like a watch review in the playground?
You know what? I don't think I factored that highly.
Yeah. I think next family dinner,
but
maybe Christmas.
He has apparently got copies of Revolution. He's one of the many readers in Australia.
Simpler times. Imagine that. Imagine if we just got Seikos and we never upgraded. We just stayed.
We took the red pill, not the blue pill.
Yeah.
Which is Pepsi. You put them together, you get the Pepsi pill, which is very high premium.
Yeah. Hard to get these days. All right.
Do you want to talk about another high premium real quick, Andy?
Yes. What's up?
This was alerted to me via our Discord because surprisingly, I'm not in the market for $1 million secondhand watches. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Of course, you're talking about the Patek Philippe 5711 Tiffany dial that came up for auction on Loop This, which is Eric Koo's platform. Well, part owns the platform. I think isn't it like a $500 fee regardless of the watch? That's sort of the selling feature of Loop This.
Oh, cool!
Yeah, it's a capped thing.
Oh, that's cool. I didn't even know that. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, but it dropped in our Discord. We'll link up if you're not in there. You should be.
The auction was live when it was dropped, and we were all wondering about because what was the one? The high point was like $6 million.
The high point was the charity one that Zack Attack.
Yeah, Zachary
Lou bought, aka Zack Attack. If you're on Instagram, which you are, which was around.
Should I follow him?
If you like crazy expensive watches and Mark Wahlberg.
Maybe I should give him a follow.
50%, yeah. So I think that was like $6.5 US, which was crazy. Obviously, they've come down. We're in Facebook groups like Moda, where you sort of every now and then someone chucks one up. Obviously, it's limited. Chucks one up, and they sort of seem to be around $2 million US.
What's the asking price?
Yeah, that's sort of what they're sort of going for. The retail price, I don't know. It's probably like a couple hundred.
We do know the retail price.
Was it 200?
This one on Loop This sold for 1.2.
Well, yeah, that's the market price. So that was sort of interesting because there's 12, I think it was 13 or 14 bidders in total because you can see the bidding history.
Oh.
Some guys started off at $500 because I guess you had to.
12 bidders.
12 in the end.
$500, that's great. $50. Oh, yeah. What a bid.
He's probably just going, imagine if no one sees this. But I think it closed at what, 1.3, 1.4?
1.2.
1.2, there you go, which is sort of one of the low ends. Still an insane amount of money, but I think indicative of the watch market at the moment.
Oh, bidder 8. He clearly had a cap on his credit score. He bid $999,999.
Would have been a good price. That was our limit. So plot twist, I was bidder 8.
Yeah, I had another dollar, but I hard limit. Didn't want to crack it. I mean, it's interesting, isn't it? Like all these, we've sort of been talking about this a little bit in various ways. I think in many ways the hype has cooled.
Well, I was looking at the
market.
Yeah, for sure. And I was looking at the trend, like the bids, and it's sort of like property at that point. You could buy a very nice house for $1.2 million. You
got several quite nice houses,
right? You could retire in some parts of the world.
You could buy a town, one of those foreclosed towns.
Where do you draw the line if you're bidding on a watch like this? At what point do you just go, I was happy at 1.15, but at 1.2, like 50 grand, like, surely you don't care about money that much once you're happy to spend over $1 million.
Yeah. Do you think Zachary, when he bought the $6 million one, because we know it was him that bought it, like goes, well, the old adage says I shouldn't spend more than a month's income on my timepiece or a wedding ring or whatever it is.
So the final bid was 1.103 and $1. The underbidder, so the person below, was 1101001. So $2,000 they missed out, which in the scheme of things is like 0.002% or 1% or something. Like, it's such a small percentage. It's 1,000th the price to miss out. But obviously it keeps escalating, and where does it stop?
I suspect it's time at that thing, like, you know.
I think, did it close? I think it must have closed at 2:17 a.m. So you got a closing time, and maybe that was just the final bid.
Yeah. You know, I assume there's like sort of bot stuff going on, and you've got a next increment, or whatever it is.
Yeah, but Jesus, it just jumped so quickly from 100 grand to within one day, 100 grand to 800K. So you're feeling pretty good.
Good luck to the seller and, the buyer, and I hope you're very happy with your watch and wear it in good health.
How could you not be? How could you not be happy with being the seller and the buyer? That seems, seems like a reasonable outcome for everyone.
I mean, who knows? $1 million is a lot of money.
Speaking of a lot of money.
Yes.
Do you know who probably gets paid a lot of money?
Who?
Nicolas Boz, the new CEO of Richemont.
Oh, yes. Yes, Nicolas Boz has been in the news over the last couple of days, has been appointed. The CEO of Van Cleef and Arpels is not enough. Appointed CEO of the Richemont Group as part of some ongoing corporate shuffling, which again, maybe we should read into the watch market about this, that the guy in charge of one of the world's biggest jewellery houses is now in charge of Richemont. Maybe it's a shift away from one category to another. Anyway, he's been appointed to CEO, taking over Jerome Lambert's sort of gig as that.
He must be very good at his job.
Sure.
He must be very, very good at what he does, because he's still relatively young. If you think of watch CEO, there's a few young uns in the mix, but there's a lot of old crusty fellas.
Well, I mean, look, Jerome Lambert was pretty young, too. He's still fairly young, so maybe that's... and, of course, Johann Rupert is still the boss, so...
Yeah. But that's that's one of the world's biggest corporations. That is a big role. That's a lot of responsibility.
Yeah, it's all politics, I guess, as well.
Maybe.
Well, I mean, Richemont is fairly...
Of course it is. But, I mean, sort of quiet news. Obviously, there's been a little bit of press, but quiet news. I'm curious to see, what will happen with Van Cleef and what will happen with the rest of the...
Yeah, I'm not... do we know if Nicolas Boz is stepping down as Van Cleef CEO, or...?
Unclear, but probably.
Yeah, probably. Interesting. Well, what do you know? Maybe he was there at the PAL Expo on May the 10th. Only watch 2024.
Yeah, big news. So 2024, as you alluded to previously, 2023 only watch. Charity auction was rolled into this year. There was so much drama last year around, I guess, the transparency of where the funds went. There was some allegations that there was some stuff that was untoward happening with the funds. There was a bit of mismanagement, maybe some misspending.
I would use the phrase "storm in a teacup." Ultimately, but valid concerns, but also character assassination.
Yeah, a few people came in a little hot. It seems to have been cleared up. It seems to be people are just like fine.
Yeah. Like all the books balance, and the whole thing of like they didn't expect to make so much money, and issues with what to do with it. But, I mean, not without casualties, because a few brands pulled from Only Watch.
They did.
AP and Tudor, notably.
Yeah, they just exited. Who knows if that's a permanent thing or just for this sort of cycle of it. But interesting nonetheless. And I think having worked at charities,
both of us.
Both of us. They're expensive to run. Overheads are a huge cost, and if you knew the percentage of overheads that went to running a charity, you probably wouldn't donate any money. This is a nice way, and it always has been a nice way for the watches which are, for the most part, quite excessive and luxury at their very core, to sort of contribute back in a way that everyone wins.
And they win as well because they get to test new designs and, get a little PR spin as well. So, 2023, pulled off the market. No one knew what was happening. Quiet rumours, sort of we started seeing press and, Ludovic was chatted around and all this sort of stuff. Coming back 2024, not smooth sailing. You'd think that he'd be like, great, all this drama is behind me. But unfortunately, Only Watch fell into an entirely different brand of drama thanks to their auction partner, Christie's.
Yeah, rough trot. So there was some sort of cyber attack, hacking situation on the website, which meant that the website was effectively down and they couldn't take online bids, which 2024, not good.
I also, in doing a bit of research around this, I thought it was like the Only Watch bid. No, all of Christie's, which is wild. And we were talking about this offline. Hacking Christie's, if you're a criminal, is a super clever thing to do. Because these guys, if you can get the personal details and purchase histories of people that bought stuff on Christie's, it's really expensive and highly transportable.
And also, if people are bidding online, then you'd think that they've got some sort of black Amex credit card hooked up and that you very quickly do something with.
Mr. and Mrs. Christie must be having a very stressful couple. And it's been going on for weeks now. It's still like,
and they went ahead. They went ahead with the auction. So, and that is, I mean, who's to say how much it impacted the performance in particular for this, which is sad. There's a few knocks. There's a few knocks to the old Only Watch, which was always a great moment to talk about and legitimately exciting to see sort of one-of-a-kind watches get released. Like at its core, that concept is very cool, and a few other places do it to different
after that,
to different extents now. But it was really sort of the place where unique pieces were kind of public and visible.
Yeah.
So that meant they went to email, absentee, and phone bids, which takes a lot out. That on top, I watched some of the live stream. It was a little boring. It was a low, I don't know, the energy maybe being a live stream, but I've watched other live streams and they've been good. This was a little boring, I got to say. It was pretty slow, and I think that was the tech issues really slowed things down because it got awkward.
Yeah, sure. And I think this is, so again, Chris Hall did a really sort of solid write-up of it, and we'll read a little quote out from it. He said there was a lot of sort of people complaining about like the Oral Backs effect. Like people expect a high-profile watch auction to be like Oral, whereas the old mate that did it did not quite have the same panache and style.
Yeah. Yeah, watch it for yourself. We can link. It's up on YouTube. You can watch it and see how long you last. But it did raise. The good news is it did raise 28 million Swiss francs.
Yep.
Which is
Thank you, Patek.
Yeah. Zack Attack. What did he cover? Nearly 80% of that with the top watch. So I think when this was announced, we went through and had a look at the catalogue on offer, and we did a bit of a wrap. So we will link back to that episode. Let's have a look at some of the outcomes of the watches and maybe some of the expectations versus results.
Before we do, I do want to read out two things.
Sure.
One from the press release from Only Watch. This is the most press releasing that I've ever read. The auction was full of twists and turns, surprises and suspense. Suspense. Before a particularly committed and enthusiastic audience eager to support Only Watch. That means it was chaotic. No one expected the hacking. There was a small group of people that are really into it. Thank you.
Twists and turns.
And then, like I said, Chris, he wrote in his, and this was the thing that I think really probably screwed people in a lot of ways. This is what he's sort of reporting on. The way in which Christie's managed the news, I am told, left some brands feeling like third-class citizens. It may be that CEOs of Patek, FP Journe and other top brands, the ones whose lots were always going to make or break the overall result, were informed earlier and had more time to scurry around. It may be that some brands' clients skew younger and were more predominantly in the Far East and were more inclined to want to be online at a less convenient time of day. It's hard to say for sure. What is obvious from the results is that some brands had their bidders in the room or on the phone and some didn't.
Yeah, it's really that is a good point, because if a lot of people travelled, to the Patek Expo to do it,
and if you're Patek and you've got 24 hours, like they knew it was happening, you know who your serious bidders were, or Christie's would know, they'd fly them out.
Or if you were a serious bidder that was just not in Europe, and you've gone to log on and you can't, you're going, well, how do I get in touch with someone? Yep. Everyone's overwhelmed. But anyway, there were some good watches. I've just got through the original catalogue and remembering how weird it was. There was rainbow themes, 2 watches with tongues on the dial. 2, not 1.
2. What was the other one? There was a Jacques Dro Rolling Stone iconic collaboration.
The Louis V tambour, Einstein.
Which got a really good result.
It did, yeah. Yeah, and then there was one that I'm kind of, I don't know how we missed it, but maybe it wasn't in the catalogue when we did our coverage. But
maybe we thought it was a fever dream.
The Richard Mille Talisman. I'm
familiar with this. I remember trying to read the press release and going, what is it? Because I read the press release with no images.
Oh, there's images now.
But it's like, the press release, it was sort of like, it was meant to be like about some sort of futuristic society. And I don't know, it was real chaotic as per usual for RM.
Yeah. It's very Visvim. I can see John Mayer probably buying it.
Oh, yeah, it is. It really is.
That's John Mayer bait if I've ever seen it.
Yeah.
Goodness gracious. Well, all in, still some stuff did go for some solid money. Yeah. The Talisman sold for 2.38 mil.
Thank you, John Mayer.
That was Johnny. That's probably the rev from his last tour. Good on him.
Selling that AP profit. It's a bit sad that AP wasn't in there, speaking of.
AP and who else? Who else pulled out?
Tudor.
So no Audemars, no Tudor, and they were always so good. Audemars,
and Patek, I think, changed. I think Patek were going to have the one with old mate Stern's face on the dial.
That's right. What happened? They
released that as a separate.
That was crazy.
Little LE. The Space Time Blade. Remember that one?
Yes, the Evoque.
Yeah, the lightsaber that's not a lightsaber.
100.
I do want to shout out two results that are quite interesting.
Okay,
Gerald Genta, Mickey Mouse, 100 years of Mickey Mouse, rebirth of Gerald Genta, the brand. That came in at a disappointing. Do I have the result?
170.
Yeah, estimate of 350 to 500, like half the lower estimate.
Would you know what? Would not one of the Arnos just not Apple Pay that and just get it done for?
Or maybe they bought the Louis Vuitton Einstein automata.
They would have, in the time it takes them to pay for it, they've made that amount of money. It's
who knows,
and they're really trying to make Gerald Genta come back. That's the thing.
Maybe the Arno's credit card was having some issues because the Tag Heuer Monaco split seconds for only watch sold for, please shout out if you have it in front of you, Andy.
110.
Less than around half retail.
Yeah. So the estimate was 150 to 300, 110. I mean.
And did I see something, this is unverified, about they were potentially trying to stop that, like saying
really?
That, wow, let me do you vamp while I do a quick Google.
So the estimate one, that's nearly half of the lower range of the estimate, or a third of the lower range of the estimate. We all know that a lot of the time the watch brands will get in here and buy their stuff back because there's a charity tax deduction benefit of buying these watches. And there's so much good PR around it as well. And if you have a big result, everyone starts talking about it like we do. But I have to say, yeah, you are sort of seeing the impact. I mean, the Chanel Mademoiselle J12,
oh yeah,
that 65 estimate was 40 to 50, so that's really strong.
I mean, a lot of them sort of felt for top of, around the range, which I assume is mostly brands.
Oh, for sure. Like the Blancpain 50 Fathoms, 20 to 30 estimate, 45. That's them. That's 100% them going, well, this is a respectable amount over, 50% over estimate. It's a good news story for everyone. Because otherwise, who else? But one of the real standouts was the Baltic Experiments, which is their perpetual, the purple dial. I saw it, actually. I saw it in Geneva.
Oh, yeah. Chuck, you got any pics?
Then there are horrendous iPhone pics, but yeah, very cool watch.
Stories.
Yeah, I thought I'd chuck up a story. Very cool watch.
Yeah.
Very, very, very cool watch. The purple was nice.
How much would you pay for it? And would you pay, 270,000 francs or whatever it was?
So the Baltic estimate was 20 to 30. Result was 55 for the Baltic.
Oh, was it? Oh, okay.
This is an interesting thing to grapple with because it's obviously a very complicated movement. And Baltic are a very cool brand. We've got a couple each, have done great stuff. And this is a pretty serious watch. And they are going to retail this. And from memory, I want to say the retail of not this exact one, obviously it's one off, but they're going to retail this movement and this offering. And I have a feeling it's around 20K.
Yeah, I think Baltic Experiments is the key word here. It's like a different brand.
Yeah. So, for all intents and purposes, it's the same.
Tudor.
Yeah, like it's like adding rock. But it's 20. Like, would people buy this for 20K? This movement from Baltic? Does it?
Look, I think I've said it before. Baltic are one of the few brands around today that I think could be in 15, 20 years' time owned by a corporation. They could be Tag Heuer in 20 years' time.
They could be Langer, yeah.
Well, maybe not Langer. I think maybe they could be. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe
Nomos. Maybe like a Nomos. Nomos scale.
That has that real skew of prices. But do you know what I mean? Like they could be a major player.
I reckon they're doing some pretty serious volume at this point. But yeah, I don't know. I saw it and I kind of thought, this is so cool. I love everything about it. Why am I struggling with the 20K price point when, it's legitimately
it's because people are brand snobs.
We're brand snobs, whereas like the most basic sports Rolex is 20 grand now. So it is an interesting offering and I'm keen to see how it goes.
Furl and Mary was the other one that had that same sort of vibe going on with Renault Tixier, I think.
Dominique Renault and Julian Tixier. Yeah,
my mistake.
Three-way collab.
Three-way collab on the old, I don't know, whatever it is, some sort of fancy chronograph.
20 to 30 Swiss francs was the estimate. Result, 130.
Yeah, they've been hyping that up. Like that was...
That brand is all hype, isn't it?
Well, I mean, I think there's, again, the mechanics are serious behind it. And that's what they're doing the same thing. Like they're building the brand, they're building the base, and they're going upscale, It's not rocket science, but it's interesting. The other thing that I think in the sort of the broader scope of Only Watch is a lot of people have been saying, oh, this is the market. This is, this is what we're seeing all over.
For sure.
But also, Only Watch is not the market.
No. Not when you've got the charity, the tax deduction benefit. What about the Recepi?
Again.
Chronometer. That
solid
one.
result. Like, yeah.
100 to 150 that's where you go, that estimate's low. 2.1 million.
Well, I guess, again, the estimate, as I said, it's the retail value, isn't it?
Wild.
Jean, cool. So who are the winners? Top 5 winners, Andy, out of Only Watch 2024. Patek.
We haven't even talked about Patek.
Hang on, we're getting there. I was thinking this would make a nice little snappy reel.
There you go.
Top
Ask
5
me again.
winners. Top 5 winners of Only Watch 2024. Patek, Jean,
Yep.
Rexy.
100.
Who else?
Oh, Baltic. I think Baltic.
You calling Baltic one of the big winners?
Yeah, Richard Mille. Richard Mille have to for the talisman. That's some serious money.
Yep. Fair enough. So do we talk about Patek now?
Yeah, I mean, save this till last. So lot 32 was a Patek Philippe. Steel watch. Couple of calendars on there. It was a Grand Sonnery in steel.
Minute repeater.
Sings a great song.
Rattrapon. It's a grand comp. It's literally got all the bells and whistles.
Swapped out, as you said. 1.5 to 1.8 was the estimate.
Mm-hmm.
They were a little bit off with this price.
Steel case.
Okay, maybe unique. Maybe.
So, Andy, we've got to have a quick chat. Obviously, we sort of alluded to it before. The big dog in the room, Terry Stern, a little company called
Patek Philippe turned up wearing a Tommy Hilfiger shirt and some jeans. Humble.
That actually, I looked up Zack Attack's spoilers. IG. That was the main reason I should be following it, to see Terry Stern dad spec.
He was dadding. He was dadding really, really
It was
hard.
just a Saturday night out in Geneva. He thought he'd pop down.
I want to, if I ever get the opportunity to ask Terry Stern, I want to ask him why he wears a Tommy Hilfiger shirt. I want to know the deal there with his with that choice. What a choice to make.
Maybe Tommy's a big client.
Possibly. I don't know. It's one of the world's greatest mysteries. But this watch, 1.5 to 1.8 was the estimate.
Sure.
Hammer
Did it get
fell
blown out of the water?
15.7 million.
A lot bigger in the past as well, though. I think, haven't they cracked like 30 in the past?
I think that, I think Zack Attack bought that watch too.
Zack Attack.
That monster complication for like 30.
Yep.
He's got a bit of a track record for being a Patek fan and being an auction.
Yes, he does.
Carrying an auction. So if you gave $28 million, he contributed 15 of that. So 60%.
Can you imagine? We're going to be old men in, let's say, 2070, and we're going to be looking at, Christie's 2077, The Life of Zack Attack's auction. Like the collection, it's going to be insane.
When's he going to stop? Like, when does he run?
If this is what you're doing as a young man, Zach Lou, when are you aging? But then again, maybe you age out. Like,
what's his
hobby
what's
for a
his
few
annual
years.
watch budget? Do you know what I mean? Like, if this is the public purchases.
Yeah.
What is he? I wonder if he sits down at the start of the year and go, right,
What do I want this year?
40. That's it. That's my max this year.
Yeah, billion, right?
Million on watches. Yeah.
Yeah, so Patek, Grand Comp, unique, steel, it ticks all the boxes. It's hard, like these things. Like, it's not really rooted in any reality.
No, it does have some baguette diamond markers on there. This is, you want one of one that no one else has. It's the thing.
It's from the big brand. It's got the big name.
Yeah. You want to get the photo with Terry? This is what you have to do.
I'm pretty sure that Zach could get a photo with Terry pretty easily.
At this point, I'm wondering if he's going to buy the brand at some point. That's his end goal.
Oh, maybe.
Credits. Maybe this becomes credits. But anyway, no, it is. I mean, good on him. Good on him. And for a good cause, pump it up, pay more money, give more money to charity. This is a much nicer watch than the watch they originally put forward with face on the dial. But yeah, I mean, that's sort of it. Everything else was just kind of, as the kids say, mid. You can see the results. We'll link up.
It was like, it could have been so much better and it could have been much more interesting, but I think the combination of everyone's a bit fatigued by Only Watch, there are obviously tech issues, which sort of hampered the result and the post-auction excitement there. Do you think all these things adding up, do you think you would if you were Ludovic and the people running it, would you like, all right, we've got a bunch of millions in the bank. Let's maybe cool off. Let's do something else. I don't need the heat. I don't need the smoke from all these, Peresoscope and all the trolls online.
I mean, at the end of the day, it's pure profit for the charity, right? Like it's all the money, all the proceeds go to them.
It's stressful for the dude. You know what I mean? Like,
it's the one job though.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, plus, I don't think like these things have a shelf life. We've got to move from only watch till unique piece.
Yeah. Well, the stressful thing is, I mean, they do it. It's not every year, so that's the thing to remember. The stressful thing is like getting brands to continue after a year like this when you've gone.
They're not going to be impressed with Christie's.
You're not going to be impressed with any of it, and you're going to go, well, we've made this. And I genuinely believe, right? Speak Marine doing a watch. And only watch, the special edition. Like, there's costs to it. Obviously, all the brands adapt things that they already have.
Just subsidising a watch and
the slight tweaks.
Probably paying for it themselves
But it's still a cost to it, and there's still effort, and there's still some expectation there. So, look, I don't know. I mean...
And, no one got a PR win out of this.
Well,
except maybe Patek and Zachary Lowe.
When are we due? Next year? 2025, is it? Or will it be... back.
If it's buy-in, who knows? I mean, if it's like 2 years from now, it's 2026.
I think people will have forgotten by then. They'll move on.
True. The cycle will keep cycling.
The time will keep ticking. And on that note, Felix.
What a closer.
We've been waffling.
Yeah.
Waxing.
Waning.
If you like OT the podcast, make sure you're telling your friends, your nephews, maybe your nieces.
Sure.
Leave us a 5-star review.
Your aunts. You could be one of our younger listeners. I know the demographics say, 25 to 44. You could be skewing the 16 to 25 segment.
You could just be a young Seiko boy or girl at this point.
Yeah, you could be a little Baltic lad.
Yeah. Yeah. A little
Furl and marry fella.
Fairy. Yeah.
Larko lass. But keep going all night, Andy.
I know you can. The best way to support OT the podcast, leave a comment, share, spread the word, join our Discord. We're going to link it up. And, of course, jump on our social media, ot.podcast, everywhere else.
Yep. Pump that YouTube.
In the links, drop a thumbs up, all that dumb,
click that bell.
Silly stuff. Give us the W. All right. See you next time.
Ciao, Bellas.
For now.